welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Lola, and in this video, you are going to learn how to conjugate verbs in the simple future or le futur simple. I'm also going to show you how to do this in the negative, in the inversion form or interrogative, and inversion in the negative or negative interrogative. So this is le futur simple. I've also done another video on le futur proche. The futur proche is something that's used casually. Normally, you don't do it use it in writing. You would use le futur simple instead. But for younger grades, you would teach them how to do le futur proche instead of futur simple. So, in order to conjugate verbs in the futur simple, you need to know this. You need to know, number one, your subjects, pronouns, or nouns. And then you need to know the infinitive form, which becomes the stem to which future endings are added. And this is for regular verbs. And the stem for irregular verbs need to be memorized. And I'm going to show you what I mean by this in case you're a little confused. So here it is. We have our subjects, pronouns, or nouns. Over here, we've just got our pronouns. So like je, tu, il, elle, on, qui, nous, vous, il, and elle. Of course, you can use nouns and subjects as well. And this would be the second part, would be the stem of regular verbs. So we have our pronoun here, je, and we have manger. So manger is the verb to eat, obviously, and it's just a regular verb. So we're going to use the whole verb. We don't have to do anything to it, just like that. And then to make it in the future tense, we're going to add the AI to it. So je mangerai is what it becomes. And that means I will eat. If we go on to the next one, again, tu réussir. And again, réussir means to succeed. And then we put the ending for tu, which is going to be as. Tu réussiras, which means you will succeed. Our next one is il, and I've used the word attendre. Now here, this was ER, this is an IR verb, this is RE. Now this is a little different from the other two. You don't just leave it as it is and add your endings. What you need to do here is take off the E. So we're left with attendre without the E, and then you put your ending, which is A, with il. So it's il attendra. He will wait. We see over here with elle rester, it's an ER verb. So again, you're just going to leave it the way it is and add the ending, which is going to be A for elle. So elle restera. She will stay. Our next one is en finir. It's an IR verb, which means to finish. And again, the ending for this is going to be an A. So en finira. And we can see that il, elle, and on, and our next one with qui all have the A as the ending. So on finira, which means one will finish. And here we go with qui vendre. So this is the infinitive, vendre, our verb. We're going to take off the E because it's an RE verb. So we got to get rid of that. So we're left with VENDR, and then again, we're going to add the ending, which is an A over here, which is going to be qui vendra, who will sell. Going on to the plural side, we're going to see nous, and I've used the verb trouver. Again, it's an ER verb, so you keep it as it is, and we add the ending, and the ending for nous is ONS. So it becomes nous trouverons, we will find. The next one is vous grandir. This is another regular verb. It's an IR verb, so we're going to leave it as is. And we're going to put the ending, which is an EZ. So vous grandirez, you will grow. Our next one is jouer, ils jouer. Now it's an ER verb, again, so we just leave it the way it is, and we're going to add the ending. The ending is going to be ONT, therefore it's ils joueront. They will play. And finally, the last one, and elles entendre. Again, it's with an RE. So we're going to get rid of that E, and then we're going to add ONT, elles entendront. They will hear. And that's basically it. That's how you conjugate it with regular verbs. I'm going to show you irregular verbs as well. We're now going to take a closer look at the endings for the futur simple verbs. And you're going to see that endings look very similar to the verb avoir when it's conjugated in the present tense. And you would see one of my videos shows you how to conjugate the verb avoir in the present tense. If you haven't seen that, please go take a look at it. So we have the stem, what we call the stem, and the endings of regular verbs. So what we learned before was manger is your stem, and then ai is your ending for le futur simple. And we can see here that j'ai is actually I have. It's in the present tense. It's conjugated. It's the avoir verb in the present tense. So look at the ai here. It's exactly the ending over here for je mangerai. So that's how you can kind of memorize it. This is one of the basic things you do in French. So if you already know this, then memorizing the endings should be pretty easy. So je mangerai, I will eat. The next one is tu réussiras. And again, it's an AS ending. And we can see over here, tu as is a conjugation in the present tense for the verb avoir. So tu as, and here we go, it's an AS, and we can see that's an AS ending. Tu réussiras, you will succeed. The next one is il attendra. And again, we have the A over here, and we see that's the ending over here. Il attendra, he will wait, sorry. The next one is elle restera, and we see elle a, that's your verb, and there's the ending, same thing. Elle restera, she will stay. The next one is on finira, and we see over here on a, the a goes right here, so it's on finira, one will finish. And finally, qui a, and the a goes right here, qui vendra, who will sell. Going on to the plural side, we have nous trouverons. This is a little different because it's nous avons, it's not nous ont. Like over here, these were all the verbs, and it was literally that was the ending over here. But over here, it's avons. So we're not going to take the whole verb. We're going to just take the ONS, the ending, and that's the ending over here. So nous trouverons, we will find. Vous grandirez, same thing over here. We don't take the whole thing. We're just going to take the EZ, and we get vous grandirez, you will grow. Ils joueront, and then ils ont. So it's actually going back to what we saw here. It's a whole verb, ONT. So the ONT goes on the end of the stem over here. So ils joueront. And finally, the last one, same thing over here. It's ONT, and it's elles entendront, the ONT. So this is entendre. Remember, we dropped the E and then put ONT. Same thing over here. I didn't explain that to you, but vendre, V-E-N-D-R-E, drop the E and then put the A like I showed you before. So we can see the whole point of this was to show you that the avoir in the present tense, when it's conjugated, this is how it's conjugated. But the endings for the futur simple are very similar to the actual verb. So we can see here AS, AI, AS, A, ONS, EZ, ONT. So in this part, we're going to look at the stems for irregular verbs. So we saw with regular verbs, you just use ER, IR, RE verbs the way that they are. But sometimes we have irregular verbs. And with these ones, they need to be memorized. So for example, avoir, which means to have, you can't just say j'avoirai. That would not make any sense. So you got to get rid of this avoir, and the avoir becomes AUR, which is to have. And I'm going to go in detail with each one of these in a little bit. So we have être, which becomes SCR, aller becomes IR, venir becomes VIENDR, courir becomes COURR, faire becomes FER, pouvoir, POURR, vouloir, VOUDR, devoir, DEVR, and mourir becomes MOURR. So as I said, I was going to go into detail with each one of these. So if we look at avoir, which changes to AUR, that's for the stem, it means to have. This is what it would look like. So because it starts with a vowel, it's not je, it's J apostrophe. So we have J apostrophe with our stem, and this is an irregular verb, so it's AUR. And then we add our ending, which we know for je or with J apostrophe is AI. So it's j'aurai, I will have. Going on to the next one, we see être, which becomes ser, and it's the verb to be. So remember this, that's going to be the stem, so tu seras, and then of course the as is your ending, so tu seras, you will be. The next one is going to be aller with the IR. That's what it changes to. So the stem is IR. And it's IR, there it is. And we know with il, the ending is going to be an A. So il ira, he will go. Looking at venir, which changes to viendre, becomes L, and then VIENDR is your stem. And the ending is going to just be an A. So elle viendra, she will come. The next one is courir, which becomes cour, C-O-U-R-R. And there it is. So en cours. And then the ending with en is with an A. So en courra, one will run. Then we have faire, which becomes F-E-R, which means to make or do. And we see here F-E-R, and we know the ending is going to be an A again. So qui fera, who will make or do. So here's the endings again, AI, AS, A. Going on to the plural side, well, we're going to do the plural side in a second. Let's just look at what verb we're looking at. We're looking at pouvoir, which becomes pour, P-O-U-R-R, to be able to. So nous pour, and then we know that the ending is going to be ONS. So it's nous pourrons, we will be able to. Then we have vouloir, which becomes voudre, V-O-U-D-R, which means to want. So voudre, and we know with vous, the ending is going to be EZ. There it is. So vous voudrez, you will want. The next one is devoir, which becomes devre, D-E-V-R, which means to have to. And we see it here, D-E-V-R. And with il, we note that the ending is going to be O-N-T. So it's ils devront, they will have to. And the final one is mourir, which becomes mour, M-O-U-R-R, which means to die. And there it is, elle mourr, and we know with elle, the ending is going to be O-N-T. So elles mourront, they will die. So those were the irregular ones. Now we're going to look at the negative form. So how does that work? Well, as usual, we know to make something negative, we always need the ne or the n apostrophe and the pas or the jamais, and they will surround the verb. So here's some examples. In the positive, we know it's like j'aurais. Or, AUR is an irregular verb. It comes from the verb avoir, which means to have. Okay, so j'aurai le basketball. I will have the basketball. To make it negative, we have the ne and we have the pas, which surround the verb. The ne goes before the verb and the pas goes after the verb. So we have je n'aurai pas le basketball. I will not have the basketball. Or we can use, instead of pas, we can use jamais, which just means never. So, je n'aurai jamais le basketball. I will never have the basketball. Now we're going to take a look at each one of them as we go through them. So here we go again. J'aurai le basketball. Again, it's J apostrophe because aurait starts with a vowel. So, j'aurai le basketball. The J apostrophe is going to now change to JE because the N apostrophe is going to be here. So je n'aurai, and then the pas goes after the verb. So je n'aurai pas le basketball. I will not have the basketball. The next one is tu seras à l'école. Again, we're going to put the ne before the verb sera and the pas after the verb sera. So it surrounds the verb before and after. Tu ne seras pas à l'école. You will not be at school. The next one is il ira en vacances. And over here, we're going to put an apostrophe because ira starts with an I. And then, of course, the pas is going to go after. So, il n'ira pas en vacances. He will not go on vacation. Now, you've noticed that I've used only irregular verbs here, and I will use it for the rest of them as well. But you can use irregular verbs, regular verbs. It really doesn't matter. It follows the same rule. Going on, elle ne viendra pas avec moi. On ne courra pas vite, qui ne fera pas le devoir, nous ne pourrons pas aller à la maison, vous ne voudrez pas manger la salade, ils ne devront pas jouer ce match, elles ne mourront pas de faim. You'll notice with these three over here, with pouvoir, vouloir, and devoir, the verbs, that there's another verb that comes after it. And that's just a rule. If you've seen all my other videos, you would know that after the verb pouvoir, there's always another verb in the infinitive form. So we have aller here, we have manger here, and we have jouer here. Okay, moving on to inversion form, which is the interrogative, which is just a question. So to make a sentence a question, you just need to invert the subject and the verb. So in the regular form, we have tu iras, you will go. So we're just going to flip these two. So you can see here it's been flipped. Iras-tu, will you go? We have a dash here and we have a question mark, which then makes it a question. Same thing here. Elle ira, she will go. And then we're going to flip it, so it becomes ira-t-elle. Now we need to put a T in here because this is a vowel and this is a vowel. It's just a rule in French. So it becomes ira-t-elle, will she go? Let's do them one at a time so that we really get this. So we've used j'aurai le basketball like you've seen before. We're going to flip this now. So it now becomes aurais-je. And also, if you notice, the J apostrophe changed to JE because it's at the end now. So, aurais-je le basketball? Notice I put the dash and the question mark in there. Will I have a basketball? Tu seras à l'école. Flip those and it becomes seras-tu à l'école? Will you be at school? Il ira en vacances becomes ira-t-il en vacances? Notice that I put the T in there. Just wanted to remind you of that. The dash is in there and then the question mark. Will he go on vacation? And then, viendra-t-elle avec moi? Courra-t-on vite? Pourrons-nous aller à la maison? Voudrez-vous manger la salade? Devront-ils jouer ce match? And mourront-elles de faim? And finally, inversion form in the negative or negative interrogative. So to make a sentence negative in the inversion or negative interrogative form, you must again add the ne or an apostrophe before the verb, but this time the pas or jamais doesn't go after the verb, it goes after the subject or noun or pronoun. So let's take a look at those. So taking a look at this example would be aurais-je le basketball? That would be the normal form. And now we want to do it in the negative form. You would have to add the ne before the verb. So here's the verb aurais, so the n apostrophe because it starts with a vowel. So n'aurais-je, and then the pas goes right in there, le basketball. So the ne before the verb or the n apostrophe and the pas after the pronoun. And this means, will I not have the basketball? Looking at the next one, seras-tu à l'école? Again, the ne goes before the sera, and the pas will go after the pronoun tu. So, ne seras-tu pas à l'école? Will you not be at school? Ira-t-il en vacances? again, the ne is going to go at the beginning. So we have an N apostrophe because it starts with the vowel. N'ira-t-il, and then the pas is going to go right in here. N'ira-t-il pas en vacances? Will he not go on vacation? And then we have ne viendra-t-elle pas avec moi? Ne courra-t-on pas vite? Ne pourrons-nous pas aller à la maison? Ne voudrez-vous pas manger la salade? Ne devront-ils pas jouer ce match? And ne mourront-elles pas de faim? I hope that this video was helpful to you. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, guys.